Hey everybody, Citizens in Action Clark County here. In case you missed it, Citizens in Action Clark County was interviewed recently by Wave3's Mark Stevens about the large police vehicle purchase we covered in November of last year. Take a listen, and then we have some additional follow-up to share.
$1 million police car purchase that reeked of a sweetheart deal led Jeffersonville city leaders to change how they buy cars following a public outcry. Some of the first results of that change appear to be saving taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars. Wave News troubleshooter Mark Stevens says that the city is now getting bids for every single car it buys.
Myra, state law requires cities to get competitive bids for any purchases over $150,000. But when Jeffersonville bought 18 police cars for $1.2 million last year, it never put such a large order out to bid. Instead, the city declared the police car order a special purchase after the deal had already been done.
Mr. Merkley has 3 quotes for some local dealers that we're requesting they be open.
Within the last few weeks, Jeffersonville city leaders have started getting bids for cars they need to buy. At a recent bid opening for 2 pickup trucks, even the mayor seemed surprised by the prices.
$39,505.
Ouch.
The final outcome was a combined $37,000 difference between high bidder John Jones and low bidder Coyle Chevrolet.
We're really happy to see that.
The city changed its policy after the group called Citizens in Action Clark County published a couple videos on YouTube questioning the city on a different car purchase last year.
To lease, I believe it's 12 Dodge Chargers and 6 Durangos to begin to recycle and replenish our fleet. This is our fleet.
The city bought 18 police cars for $1.2 million from the John Jones police car dealership up in Salem. But it didn't get bids for any other dealers, and after the deal had been done, declared the whole thing a special purchase exempt from Indiana city buying laws.
The law says you can't break them up you can't break up a large purchase into small purchases to get around competitive bidding. Okay. But alternatively, we could designate, because these are special purchases.
People were upset about it. I mean, they didn't know that it was going on. Usually people don't pay attention. This drew attention because it was so many vehicles together.
The city attorney told me every car purchase going forward will require getting 3 bids or quotes. Citizens in Action narrator Caitlin Blessett says this is a win for taxpayers.
It turns out that the dealership that they have been purchasing from is not always the lowest bidder.
At the same meeting, the police department came back with bids for their own pickup truck.
Before you or before less, could be 3 quotes. The police department seeking the purchase of 2023 Dodge Ram.
John Jones won that bid, coming in $5,000 cheaper.
The City Public Works Board gave its final approval for the new bids for those fire trucks as well as that police pickup truck just yesterday. Mark Stevens, Wave News.
Thank you.
The Wave 3 coverage was great because it draws attention to important issues from a broader audience. What I want to emphasize here is that shortly after we posted those first 2 YouTube videos covering this topic, and if you haven't seen those, go back and watch. We'll drop the links in the description. But after those videos came out, JPD's Chief Kavanaugh and Assistant Chief McVoy invited us to the station for a meeting so they could go over in detail the documents and details of the large vehicle purchase. That was December 6th. Now, we didn't agree on everything at that meeting, but we did find a lot of common ground and understanding for how they do things. First of all, they cared enough to speak with us and clear things up, and extended that as an open invitation to come back if we ever have more questions. So that is positive. The documents that they went over at the meeting, including the financial documents, did all match up, and every dollar was accounted for, which was not the case with the original documents we received from a records request, but those documents were not all finalized. Kavanaugh and McVoy were adamantly in support of John Jones being the preferred dealership and upfit service for pursuit vehicles because it's a specialty of that dealership, and they have vehicles and equipment already on site. They said that purchasing a vehicle from a dealership, having it upfit somewhere else, etc., is not the best way to purchase these vehicles. There could be warranty issues, fragmented services like taking a vehicle to multiple places to get various things installed could cause delays, whereas John Jones does everything at one location and streamlines services a lot faster and more efficiently. So those were the explanations given in December, and we here at CIA are not police pursuit vehicle experts, but as common people, we want to be reassured that the reasoning and methodology is being explained to the people. We want purchasing policies followed, and it does appear since that meeting that JPD and the city has taken extra steps to do that. Any further questions we've had, I'll send an email, and twice now Assistant Chief McVoy has gotten right on the phone with me to explain things. Our main concerns were that John Jones Auto Dealership are showing up in subpoena documents in association with the Jamie Knoll investigation, so that put a spotlight on the dealership. Then we see this large $1.2 million police vehicle request come through to the Jeffersonville City Council, where Matt Owen is president. Matt is also a close friend and business partner of Jamie Knoll. He's received campaign donations from John Jones and his wife, and he votes for this $1.2 million purchase without asking any questions or asking for bids. So we're not going to rehash all that. We've already covered it, but our issue was never the police department. It was the way the council was passing things without question, and the city as well. It's not just police and fire vehicles being purchased from John Jones. It's regular city vehicles that don't even require upfits for anything special. Those should not be going to this one dealership. These vehicles need to be compared with local dealerships. Just a few days ago, I had a call with Assistant Chief Scott McVoy, and he mentioned that we covered the problem in our YouTube videos, but then we haven't covered the positive follow-up. And then the Wave3 piece came out. So Scott is right. Sometimes we need to take a break from all the county drama and shine a light on the good things. So to end this portion on a positive note, we are very happy to see bids being opened in recent meetings. This is what meetings used to look like for vehicle purchases last year.
New business, Scott McVoy.
And the vehicles that we are going to lease through them. This comes to you with a favorable recommendation from the City Council from their 9/18 meeting. So we asked the board to approve that commitment letter today, so First Savings can get the financials in place for that purchase.
For the lease financing agreement.
Motion to approve. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Last thing I have, there are deals sometimes that kind of come along that you weren't looking for. But when you find them, it's hard to pass up those deals. So we didn't ask, we were approached. 2 vehicles that are 2022 3/4 ton, 4-wheel drive diesel pickup trucks through John Jones that had a list price of $64,000. And they discounted it to $41,000 and change, which we're trading in 2 trucks. One's worth $13,500, the other one's worth $12,500. So the 2 vehicles, one would cost $39,015, and the other one costs $38,015. I'm asking the board to approve the purchase of these 2 vehicles. The money's in the budget someplace, and I'll find it. So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And this is what they look like now.
Last meeting, we opened up the bids on 2 vehicles that work trucks that the fire department is looking at purchasing. We're ready to move forward after discussion and review of the bids. Mr. Merkley, would you like to speak?
Yeah, we received 3 quotes. There are 2 different vehicles. Easy to say, a red truck and a white truck. John Jones was non-responsive because these specs required that there be a trade-in value. There's 2 vehicles that are going to be traded in, and they did not include a trade-in on their quote. Therefore, they are non-responsive. So the 2 remaining was Bachman and Coyle. Coyle was lowest on both trucks. Coyle at $30,172.30 for the red truck, and for the white truck, $38,677.
So just to pause here and interject some additional information, and speaking with Assistant Chief McVoy on the phone the other day, he explained this a little bit more. So what Mr. Merkley is saying is that in this particular purchase of these vehicles, John Jones actually could have been the lowest bidder, but they just made an administrative mistake, probably a clerical mistake, and that they did not include the trade-in value of a vehicle that was going to be traded in for this purchase. So it made it appear that the overall price was going to be about $10,000 more, when in fact, they actually just forgot to, or they failed to put in the trade-in value. So that made the other 2 dealerships look quite a bit cheaper, when in fact, maybe if everyone had put in the trade-in values, they would have been very comparable, and John Jones might have been the cheapest. So for that reason, they kind of threw John Jones' bid out for this purchase, and they're going to go with a different dealership. So at the time of this story, at the time that we did this interview, the information about a trade-in value being a factor was not available to the public. It wasn't available to us, and certainly it wasn't available to Mark Stevens. So we couldn't have known that John Jones was so much higher just because they failed to put in a trade-in value. So now we know, and the savings are yet to be seen. We don't know if it's going to make a significant difference or not, but we do know that bidding is an important part of this process, and we are happy to see it happening.
So I have a motion and a second to purchase both vehicles from Coyle.
I make a motion to purchase both vehicles. Call.
Second. I've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Andy?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
The motion carries. Chad Rigel.
So as you can see, they are using the bidding process to really talk this out and pick the best deal. So those were in reference to fire vehicles. And here's an example recently at a meeting of approval of a police vehicle.
Scott McVoy.
Mayor, last week we presented the 3 bids to the board for review for a purchase of the a vehicle. I believe Les has those figures.
John Jones was the lowest. The other 2, in fact, did not even provide a quote that would be consistent with the specs that were requested. We requested a quote on a 2023 Dodge Ram. The other 2, which was Madison Chrysler Dodge Jeep, they only had a 24. Bachman did not have a 23 either. So John Jones was the lowest of the 3, and is also the only one who provided a quote for 23. So
I'll make a motion to accept the lowest quote from John Jones. Not second it.
I've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Andy?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So this is a win for us and for you all and for our local government because they're purchasing with transparency according to their policies. So that is it for this short video. Everybody, please like this video and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned because we have been really busy interviewing our local candidates, and we will be dropping those interviews here shortly.